Flow Brewing. Today we are tasting the Citra IPA that we made. Um, you can see here, it's actually, this I've had on tap for almost a month. And it's actually improved the clarity and the color over time. And I think the flavor is actually getting better. Um, the beer originally brewed, it was an experiment very similar to the Kern River Citra IPA off of the Jameel Show or Brewing with Style off the Brewing Network. Um, and it turned out wonderful. We used essentially an ounce of nugget hops for bittering, and then we had practically 9 ounces of different dry hop intervals with Citra, Amarillo, and Centennial. Um, Never left the hops in the fermenter more than 3 days, and it came out with just a blasting aroma. Very, very good. Definitely get a lot of those citrus, mango, a little bit of passion fruit notes. I put just a little bit of black patent in this for color, and I think it got a pretty nice red color, but it's got a lot of cloudiness, so I'm gonna get knocked for clarity here. I don't think with this style that necessarily it has to be that clear, but I think as you're selling a product, you want to try and get it as clear as possible. I definitely need to add a pump to recirculate the mash to get to where I want to be, but this beer really is how I think an IPA should be brewed. I think that the 3 stages of dry hop is very labor intensive. And you can probably get away with probably 2 stages with a big whirlpool addition right at flame out. But overall, we're slowly dialing in to my ultimate IPA. And I think what that means is that you have to sort of find the base with the flavor profile that you're looking for. On the West Coast, that tends to be extremely dry and light. And then on the East Coast, it tends to be a little bit more malty, a little bit bigger base, kind of balancing with the hops. And then here in the Midwest, we tend to have somewhere a little bit more in the middle with a little bit more crystal malts. And then you just have to tweak to the style of beer and to your taste preference, what you're looking to do. Um, I think we're getting real close. I think I'm going to take the black patent out next time that I do this and do a little bit different with the crystal malts. Also, maybe use a little bit of the Vienna malt or a little bit more Munich for color, allowing that malt to convert so that it gets that dryness with a little bit of the color. And take the black patent out. And I don't mind an IPA being a little bit lighter. I thought that I wanted it to have a little red hue. But, when I hold this beer up to light, I don't think that the red, it's not as visually pleasing as I expected. And I don't think it really matters. So, anyways, nailed the big mango citrus hop aroma on the flavor. So on the aroma, I'd give this like an 8. It's right there. The clarity, I'd give it a 1, or the color, I'd give it a 1. For the flavor, I get some grassiness probably from the amount of dry hops. I get a lot of bitterness, and I didn't use a ton of hops at Flame Out. Pretty much doubled that bittering addition. I used about 3 ounces right there at Flame Out. And then the nugget gave it a good bitterness. The flavor is just not, it's good. There's no off flavors at all. It's got a about the right amount of bitterness, but it doesn't have the dry straw crispness that I'm looking for. So I think that I get there by easing up on the black patent, easing up on the crystal, and pretty much just going straight 2 row to get where I want to be. I really don't see how you can go wrong with pretty much just a straight 2 row base, and then throw in some Munich for color, and just keep it super simple, super clean. Let that yeast really ferment out, and then the yeast strain can't hardly go wrong with American ale. I know a lot of guys like at Stone, and are using the I believe it's the WLP 007 or 006, the or an iteration of that, of the White Labs English, or the English ale strain. Um, and that gives it just a little bit different, a little bit more yeasty flavor profile. Um, I prefer it to be a little bit more clean, but again, I think that's something you can play around with. So overall, on the flavor, just a little bit more toffee, a little bit more caramels than I'd like, um, which, not bad, not bad at all. Just not. I'm gonna clean it up next round. And then as far as mouthfeel is pretty good. Little bit slick on the palate, not quite as dry and crisp as we'd like it. I think that I could mash it just a little bit lower and pitch a little bit bigger yeast strain. On this particular beer, I actually racked it off primary. I feel a little bit too early to get into my dry hopping, so I think having an excellent starter, letting that finish out before you start your dry hopping regimen, and good oxygenation will help clean that up on the mouthfeel, and take some of that slickness away. So I would give that, honestly, on the mouthfeel, 2 or 3. Although I think it's out of 5. And then overall flavor, I believe that's out of 10. I think I'd go with somewhere in the 5. I think this beer is right at about a 30 to 33 total if I was to rate it. It's got a lot going on for it. It's got great aromas. It's got good flavor. It's just a little bit more on the toffee side than I would like, and has a little bit more slickness to it. Um, but stuff like this, experimenting with like 9 ounces of dry hopping for a particular hop in 3 different stages, I think that's really what homebrewing is about, and about dialing into style, and about making beers that you can't buy. So that's what we're trying to do here. I think this turned out pretty good, and it's been a fun experiment. Everybody seemed to really enjoy it at the homebrew meeting, and everybody was really amazed at the amount of hop flavor that you can really slam into a beer. So I think that's pretty cool. I did enter it in the NHC homebrew competition this year, so anxious to see the score sheet for this beer. I hope that the hops didn't essentially get oxidized during the storage period, because you had to drop the beer off about a month to a month and a half prior to judging. May 4th, those results will be out, so I'll be looking to see what they are. And then I don't know if they're emailing or posting score sheets digitally, but looking forward to the feedback. Good beer. Love drinking it, and I haven't had anybody complain about drinking it. So, anyways, that's what it's all about. Thanks for tuning in to Flow Brewing. Have a good afternoon. Cheers, and we'll talk to you soon.